Howdy. We're going to do the intro, most like fundamental tutorial for the HPRC. So uh, the HPRC is A&M's high performance research computing cluster. You can make an account uh, at this website. So uh, I forget exactly where it is, but you can request an account somewhere here. You new user information and accounts. I would check those out. So I'm going to assume that you have an account, right? Uh, One way to access the HPRC is via this website as well. So we can do this dual factor authentication. And I'm logging onto Grace. So I hit Grace portal. So this will take me to one of the clusters. Maybe in the future, this will be called something different, or we'll get a new one, right? So just look for the available clusters, and uh, that'll work. Howdy, Kate. Uh, so you have an account on the HPRC, Caden? I just want to check that.
Yeah, I got approved. I
Okay,
have one.
wonderful. Okay. So just where you didn't miss much. So where we started was, this HPRC website. One way to access the supercomputer, quote unquote, or the high performance computing cluster. You'll hear HPC. I think that's how it's referred to at other schools. It'll be HPC, high performance computing. Uh, Go to portal, and then you look at whichever cluster you want to access. So Grace is one cluster, Faster is one cluster. They just have different hardware that you can access. I use Grace, so I say let's just use Grace for now. Click that. It'll ask you for duo factor authentication, and then you'll be here, right? Uh, and then what you can do from here is you can go to apps and you can do Grace Shell access. And there's a lot of other apps you can do. Uh, we won't get into this today, but there's like a lot of stuff available here. Maybe you can see the dashboard. You could see what accounts you have, what your quota is, like how much storage you still have left. Here are the group memberships. So these are kind of like the certain files you're allowed access to, certain software you're allowed access to. I'm a member of my own group. You should see probably your username here. I have VASP, Thermocalc. I'm in this other group that has its own uh, Scratch folder, basically. I'm part of this group, Ariave Lab, and these other software groups, right? We can look at the disk quota. You have different, like I said, you have different groups. Um, so this group here, home, everybody has a home directory. This is the only folder that you have that is backed up, and it's backed up every night, right? Because it's backed up every night, you have a limit on the number of files that you can have, and a memory limit too, right? So it's not just that you have a bunch of, it's not just that you have a one large file that takes up all of your memory. You could have that, yes, right? Like the amount of data, but it's also the number of files. You're limited to the number of files. So you could have a bunch of small files that are under the memory limit, but because the number of files is too much, it's you'll hit your limit and that will cause you issues. So just be aware of that in your home directory. That is why, because of this file limit, we have another directory called Scratch. Um, so Scratch is where you can do all your work. It's not backed up, but you have a larger memory limit. So Home has 10 Gs, Scratch has 1 TB. This is how much I'm using, and this is the percentage of the total amount, right? And then this is the amount of files. So you have to watch these two numbers, the disk and the file usage. I have access to these other ones. So We don't have to worry about that, but you can request quota increases too. So if you need that, but I don't know if they approve those very often. Your accounts, this is where you have money. So I have money. It's not real money. I mean, it is real money in a sense, but computing hours, right? So let's see. My allocation here, I haven't used any of this account, and I'm still working through this account. I've used about 4,000 hours. So that means that maybe I have parallel calculations and uh, I have it running on 40 cores for 10 hours. So that is 40 times 10. And then if it runs that long, that's how much it will take. Does that make sense? You could say thumbs up or okay, thumbs up emojis. Good, just checking. So we get these from Dr. A. You have a default, so you can use your default right now. But if you were doing this for research, probably you would write a small, little, easy proposal for what you're going to do that year, what you plan to do, and then you submit that with your lab in a big packet, and they approve it, and they give you a bunch of basically hours to run. Okay, so that's the intro there. Any questions about Home and Scratch? We'll actually get on the computer soon. Okay, so I will start on here and then I will move to MOBA X and I'll explain what MOBA X is. Okay. So I went to the to apps Grace shell access. So this is the shell. This is the terminal. This is what else can you call it? Shell and terminal. I think those are what I would call it, right? This is the landing page. Um, so it just says if you need help, you can email here. Don't call. Uh, their website's pretty good. They have some good YouTube videos to kind of learn how to do this. And let's see, don't share your password, all that. Okay. Also, I'm using two cores right now, or I'm on two login nodes, right? So I also have this up on, I have Grace up on MOBA X. This is just something you can download. What's nice about this is you have this little file viewer right here. Unlike this is just the terminal. There's nothing, no icons here, right? I encourage you to not use the icons. Just try to work around it and get used to just using the terminal. It's good practice, and usually a lot of stuff can be done quicker that way without using icons. So I'll work in here for a little bit, but just know that you could do this in MOBA X. Okay. So that command I just entered was ls. If you know ls, put a thumbs up, but I'll just keep on talking while doing this. ls is to list everything in the directory. Okay. So it shows you what files that you have. So I landed in my home directory. The tilde means home, typically. This is my landing page, basically, right? This is my home directory. Um, and you can tell by looking at the tilde there, right? So I know I'm home. And then to see what's in home, I do ls. And then I have some files here, whatever. To see where I currently am, I do print working directory, pwd, and lo and behold, I am in home/Bernvella. Okay, that is a little misleading because there's more behind home. I will show you what's behind home right now, I guess. So this is like any other Linux computer. I will preface it that this is one computer and we all kind of share this one Linux machine. Okay, that's what the computing cluster does. And we can request certain resources using something called Slurm, but we'll talk about Slurm in a little bit. If you want more information on that, most HPCs use Slurm. Okay, so it's not just us who use this; other people use it too. Slurm basically just says you have the computing hours. Give me the ticket, and I will find a compute. I will manage the resources of the computer and get you the nodes and the memory and the RAM that you need. Right? We all have to share it, right? So that's what it does. Okay, so let's just walk around the computer a little bit. Let's move forward and then I'll move backward. So if I want to go into the downloads folder, I'll do change directory CD, capital D O W N L O D S. Okay. And hit enter. And then you can see the little icon here change from tilde for home to downloads. So we know where we are. Um, let's do that again, or let's go back, right? So I want to go back home. I want to go to the previous, I want to go up one directory, right? I want to go back one directory. I do cd dot dot. Now I'm back home. So very, very simple stuff. Um, and just interrupt me if there's any question. Let's do this again. Let's go back to the downloads folder, but then I put in do, right? Hit tab, it'll autocomplete. That's very nice, right? So let's try to do that whenever we can. So CD tab to autofill downloads. There's nothing in here. I did ls to see what's in there. There was nothing in there. I did ls-a just to see if there's any hidden files. Hidden files will have a dot in front of it. So there's certain things that you can hide just because either you know it's there, but you don't really necessarily want to see it when you hit ls. So that's good to check sometimes when you have that. So A stands for all. So I'm back home. To see if I'm home, I do pwd home/Prevella, yes. ls-a. Yeah, everything that has a dot in front of it now, I did ls and then ls-a. So here are all the hidden files, right? So um, these are like install files basically that we don't necessarily have to worry too much about. But sorry, I'm going back. These are like install or system files. Oh, I went back farther. So let me go home and then I'll take you back to this page. Are there any questions so far?
So does the dash A, is that just hidden? Because it seemed like everything had a dot whenever you did dash A here.
Not everything, but most things,
Oh,
right? So let's
okay, I
do
guess
ls.
the one of them doesn't have a dot,
Yeah, there's four of them that
or a
don't have a dot.
few.
Yeah, so it's these don't have a dot. Things that are blue are folders or directories is what they're called. And things that are white are files. I don't know what this teal is. Um, but color kind of indicates something. I think pink means it's a picture or something. So that is a good question. So we're in the landing page still. Let's just move around the computer a little bit. So we can go, I'll ask y'all the question just to so I'm not yapping at y'all too much. How do I go back one directory to the parent directory, if y'all remember?
The dots.
Exactly, right? So we'll do dot dot. That will take us back one directory. I'll do ls. This will take a long time. So I was in my directory, and now I'm in the directory that holds everybody's directory. And I'm in here, and you're in here. Your home is somewhere in here as well. I could probably find you. Uh, let's see. I'll show you how to search. So I'll find your directory. So I will do ls type grep, and I'll explain what this means. Vela, and I can see every I can see everything, and not just a directory, but it could be files as well. But it'll just tell you the name of it, right? Uh, that has the word Vela in it, right? So I am in there. Someone else has so there's a Velasquez, right? So that is kind of how you search. So what I did was ls, and then I want the pipe says take this and pipe it into this command called grep. Grep is like basically the search for terms command, and then search for this term. So let's see. I will. There you are. Right. Watch what happens when I try to go there. That's good, right? Permission is denied. I can't go to your. I can't see change directory into your folder. That's your home, right? Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back one more. This slash, don't, I believe this is root. It, but there's also a folder called root, so I'm a little unsure. But my understanding that this is root. This is like when I say root, this is the base. You can't go back any farther. Look what happened. You see this. This is root, right? This is the first file in the system, in the entire system, right? So let's try to go back more. We can't go back any farther. This is it, right? So there's all this stuff. A lot of it doesn't concern you. I don't think that you have to worry about breaking anything because if it was worth, right, like if it's worth breaking, they would have protected it. But just be careful. Um, so, like I said, there are scratch directories as well. So let's see. There's the home directory here. So this is where we came from here, right? We came from this one. And inside home is listed all the users, and then you're one of the users in there, right? So we went back and now we're here. And then here is scratch, right? So you have a home and a scratch directory. So let's do the scratch. Change CD, scratch, enter, ls. There's a bunch of stuff here. So there's let's see, some data. Nothing that concerns us. Uh there is, let's see what's in, etc. Nothing that concerns us. This can concern you. Group. This will take a long time. No, sorry, I didn't hit it. ls. These are like groups that have these basically everybody has their own scratch folder, but then groups can have certain scratch folders too that have larger quotas, so you can have more files. And then if you do here, here's the friends we know and love, our Yave lab. I can CD in here. I don't usually work in here, but this is where a lot of people can do certain work, right? So uh, let's see. Sina does work here. Guillermo does work here. James has one. Trevor has one. Peter has one. Vahid has one. Shushin, who's graduated, has one. I have one here, right? I don't usually work in here, but there are some reasons why you might want to work in this scratch. So you can do work here. So let me do a little bit of work here, and then I'll go to my personal scratch folder. See, I don't have anything in here. If you do ls or lsa dash a, there's nothing here, right? So just I'm going to pwd to show where we are. Scratch group Ariave lab Brent Vela. Okay. Um, let me take this. I think that was good for basic. I want to use MOBA now because it has a bigger font. So I will just go back to this same place because I'm going to start editing. So it's just easier if you can see. I'm at in this login. Let me turn this off. In this login node, like I'm logged in on multiple computer locations basically. I copied the path where I was. Let's say I'm at root, right? We remember where that is. Home was here, and then home contains all our files, all the user homes, and then you have a home in there. So we're at root though. change directory, scratch, group, Ariave Lab Vela, right? So this dash right here is the same dash here. So this dash, this first dash is here. Uh, so basically, you can get from anywhere in the computer by referencing it with regard to this root directory, right? Because it's the base. So I'm going to do that. And that's what PWD does, basically. It gives you your location with respect to the very, very, very first directory in the computer. Does that make sense? Okay. Uh, so everything's kind of hierarchical like a tree. How do I access Grace from MOBA external? That is a wonderful question. So I got too into it. So let's talk about accessing. You have MOBA X. MOBA X is like I said, there's benefits to using this because you get the little GUI on the side. I'm going to hide it for now. You download it, you go to session, you go to SSH. This is like a remote into a Linux basically. Then you do Grace 1 through 6, or you could just do grace.hprc.tamu.edu, hit specify username, and then do that. And then you'll be prompted with this. You'll enter in your password, and then you'll do the duo authentication. Don't save the password. We're logged in. Where did we land? Here is the here is the root directory. Here's home, and here's us, right? So that was the with respect to the very, very first directory, okay? So I'm in my home directory. I can close that. Um, so yeah, that is how you access Grace from uh, MOBA. And I'm using MOBA only because of the bigger font. That's all. So where am I? Just as a reminder, I'm in this Ariave lab. I'm in my own folder in Ariave lab. Let's make a text file, vim test.txt. Okay, vim is the editing software. It's hard, and you can use other things. I encourage you to try to learn how to use it, and it's easier now that we have ChatGPT because you can ask for the commands. But this is how you edit text. The little tildes mean uh, let me get out of it real quick just so we can do that again, right? To leave this, do colon Q. You'll leave it. Okay, so I'll do vim tst.txt. So what this will do, if test.txt does not exist, it will create it. I'm in this software. So this is a software, right? Now this is no longer the terminal, it's a software. There are certain commands that's kind of tricky to use. I hit I. Now I'm in insert mode. This is edit mode, basically. I can do hello, hello, world, and then I hit escape and it goes away, right? So I was in edit mode and now I'm not in edit mode. I'm hitting backspace right now. It's not deleting it, right? It would be delete, but if I do hit I and then I hit backspace, it does delete it. Now let's say I didn't want to do that. So I will hit escape. So I'm no longer in edit mode. Then I'll hit U. One change, I undid the change basically, right? So you have to manually get into edit mode and then you can do certain things. Um, I won't get too much into Vim right now, but it's really useful to just be able to quickly open something and then work on it in the terminal. Um, truly. Okay. Any questions about Vim so far? Okay. Sounds good. Um, I want to save this. Write this to the file, W. So, oh yeah, colon has certain commands. So colon, I'm going to do a command. Write this to the file. Q is to close. Q is to close for a lot of Linux programs as well. So now we see that we have a new file here called test.txt. Cat.txt that basically took the file and printed it to the terminal. Okay. Um, it stands for concatenate. Let's do this. Let's do this. I may mess up a few times for this. Grep them or hello. Let's do grep hello test.txt. So grep, like I said, is the search for keyword command. And what that did is I said grep the word hello. You could think of it as grab it or find it. Find the word hello from test.txt. And it did. And it showed you the line at where that appears. Right? There's other things you can do with that, but uh, okay. So we can cat, we can do text search. Um, let's think. Anything else? I think that's good. Okay. So let's just keep on moving around. We're gonna take a walk through the supercomputer, right? So this is like, let's see where we are. Scratch group Ariave lab. Let's go back. Here are all the where are we? Here are all the groups. Okay, we can go back. So now we're gonna go to user. So where are we? Let's just look where we are. We are in Scratch, right? So if we go back one more, we're in root, and then we go forward to we can do now we're in Scratch, right? Then we can do go to user. This is the same thing. Every user has a Scratch folder as well. ls, pipe, grep, bella. We see the same thing as we saw in home because every user, this should be the same, right? Because every user has a Scratch in home. Okay, here is where I do my work on the computer. So this is my Scratch folder. This is where I normally do my stuff. And you can see that I've done some stuff with the classification paper in here, right? So for this part, I will bring up the I guess it's the file explorer on the left. Uh, let's show how to run a Python real quick. Let me yeah, let me show you how to run a Python. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Is there something called tutorial? Okay. So what I will do, we'll work in here because this is where I did the previous equilibrium tutorials and stuff like that. But what I'll do is I will let me see if I can do it in Vim. If not, I will not play with that and I'll just do. So I'm gonna make a file called hello world.py. Okay. Oop, hold up. Let me check what I just did because I saw something that was from a different file that probably shouldn't be there. Let me see. Hello world.py. Okay. And what we'll do, I don't know. I'm pasting. Um, so I inadvertently pasted. I'll show you some commands that you can do to get rid of this. So if you do what is it? I'm in insert mode. Let me get out of insert mode. I want to delete these lines. Hit DD quick, DD, 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 DD. Right, that'll delete the entire line. There's other commands. I don't really know them all, but I'm learning them. So I hit I. It's a little laggy. I think that's what's going on with it. Yeah, I hit I and it lags, but now I'm in insert mode. So this is basically edit mode. And what I will do is I will do print hello world exclamation point. Close, close. And then I will do, oh, I'm still in edit mode. So I'll hit escape to get out of edit mode. And then now that I'm in like command mode, I'll do WQ write and then close. I will cat this hello world.py. This is just the command, right? The code. What we can do then is, I don't think this will work, but let me give it a shot. Hello world.py. Okay, that did work. That's cool. So I ran the Python, right? I ran that Python script. So I said Python and then run this script, and then it outputs the output of that script. Okay. Um, we will do vim hello world, and let's do like a calculation. Uh, just checking this isn't too boring. Like this is you're learning something new, or too fast, too slow, good pace. Seen this before? Okay, it's good pace. Okay. So we can do like a calculation. Let's do a for loop, but let's not get in trouble. Uh, let's see. For I in range 10, because technically we're not supposed to be um, running it without. It's fine for this, but you'll see what I mean by getting in trouble. Okay, I did the code. Hopefully this works. Escape to get into command mode. Right, close, hit enter, save. You can cat that just to see if it worked. Yes. Python. I'm going to run Python, and what file am I going to run? Hello world.py, and then hello world 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, right. So you've done this. Okay. Um, that's the most basic. We're doing this in the login node. So that means if we had a really long job, we would not be doing Python long uh, calc.py. We wouldn't be doing that because that's kind of you're not it's not going through Slurm and you're not using your money basically. So you need to pay to use the resources. Um, it's okay to do small stuff in this login node like where we are right now. But I will show you how to do that. I'll show you right now. So let's say vim hello world. Let's make that 100, right? Or let's make it 100 and pretend it's 1,000, right? Or something well, expensive, okay? Print some expensive calculations are happening in this for loop, okay? So this is kind of the motivation of why we want to use the HPRC. Out of edit mode, right close, cat, hello world. Oops, sorry, I did ls too quick, but here it is, okay? So what we'll do, if this is an expensive job, what we will do then is I will show you what is in this run tcpy.sh. So this is a slurm file or a .sh file. I mean, .sh stands for shell. Um, but the way we have it configured, this is a ticket for Slurm. How do we know it's a ticket for Slurm? Because we have this heading right here. Um, so basically, this is for your job. You're going to submit a job on the resource manager. Here are the necessary specifications, the name, the time it will run. This is in hours, minutes, seconds. The nodes, this is the number of computers, right? So there are, each computer has cores. I think each of these computers has 42 cores or something like that. So this number can be up to 42. So I have 15 requested right now. Um, but I'm only using one computer. For most cases, you'll only use one computer. So one node is one computer, and then you're requesting a certain percentage of that computer's resources, basically. This is for parallel tasks. We'll talk about parallel tasks later, but for right now, I just want to get y'all introduced to just like running basic Python jobs, right? And then we'll do thermocalc uh, later, or I already have videos on that. The memory and the output name. So this is where the outputs will be printed to. We'll see what this means later. And the account number, where we'll take the money from. And then these are optional. If you have you can put your email here and it will tell you, oh, your job died. It'll email you if your job died or your job finished or your job, whatever, right? It'll email you if something has happened to it. Basically, down here are commands that what we have been basically running. Um, so let me maybe let me talk about that. We can basically do everything down here, but um, yeah, let me talk about that real quick. So let me exit out of this. Just quit. Don't save this queue. So you saw module load. So let's just do module list. I don't have any modules loaded. I'm surprised Python worked. So um, modules, these are kind of add-ons that you can add to your current your current your user at that time, right? So if I wanted to turn on thermocalc, if I want to be able to use thermocalc, I have to do a few things. I have to do module. Let's do it from the beginning. I'm interested in using thermocalc, so I will do module spider slash thermocalc. Spider is just something that it's a command. I don't know why it's called spider, but it will search up certain uh, softwares that are on the supercomputer, right? And then here's all the lines that we're looking through. So let's go through this. So thermocalc, it is a software package for thermodynamic calculations. It's used for a variety of calculations. Here's what we have installed on the computer right now. And for detailed information about a specific package, use the full name. So let's get more details on this one. So I just copied it down there. Okay, so then we see here, and it says you will need to load all of the modules on any one of the lines below before thermocalc is available to load. So GCCC, this is like I forget exactly what it is. It's like C++ and certain very basic tools that need to be loaded onto your session before you can run thermocalc. So thermocalc requires um, this toolkit basically. This toolkit is very common. You can Google GCCC to find out what's really in there. But for our purposes, you just need to load this up first, right? There are many versions of GCCC. Oh, I learned something new. We could get the GUI interface by just doing this. So let's do that. Um, I will do the Slurm file, but let's just play around with this a little bit. So here's a command, GUI interface. Oh, because I don't have it loaded. So let me module load GCC 9.3.0 and thermocalc uh 2024 1. You can do it all on one line, or you can do it module load this and module load that. Let's do module list. We see that we have thermocalc and we have Python and we have all this stuff, okay? And then we will do One trick as well. I don't want to retype thermocalc.sh. I hit up on my keypad, up on my keypad, up on my keypad, and then it'll go up to that line that I just wrote out. Right. So that's another shortcut. That's where it is. Okay. So this it's loading something right now. So you might see a pop up. Let's see if this works. Any questions while it's loading? Okay. It loaded up. No questions. Good. Let's not import anything from that. Oh, permission was denied. No, it wasn't. Okay, good. I don't know what that is about. That's fine, because it started up. So I wouldn't, basically, you've seen thermocalc. This is just thermocalc being pulled up on the supercomputer. What I am interested in, I will need to do this eventually. I can't run anything, right? Because I'm in the login node and I'm not paying for the resources. So I will close this, but I probably in the future I'll want to, maybe I can make a video on it where I think there's a way to get GUI stuff, set up a GUI calculation, and then you can leave it running and close the computer, right? And it's not running on your computer, it's running on their computer, basically. Um, but this is taking too long, so let me go ahead and close it. Or another way to close it, uh, you can see here, the terminal is kind of dead because the GUI is open. But if you do Control C or Control X or Control Q or Q, let's see, or Escape, oh no. Usually it'll kill it. Hold on. Control X, X, Q, C, Q. Control Q. Control X, C. There it is. Okay. One of those will close it, right? Okay. So anyway, that was interesting. So I pulled up thermocalc, but I want to run, let's say I'm trying to run TC Python or something, right? Something expensive. I'm not going to run TC Python right now, but let's say we have an expensive calculation. Um, what we will do then is what we will do then is uh, copy the sh file. So I'm going to copy the run tcpython.sh and I'm going to make a new one called run hello uh, world.sh, or I could call it .slurm too, .sh or slurm, either one. It does not need to have like run. There's no, there, it could be hee hee ha ha dot slurm, and that doesn't matter, right? It just, this is the name of this ticket I made, right? So what I'll do then is I will go into vim hello run hello world dot slurm, and then you see here module load GCC 9.3.0. We did that, right? We needed to do that. So basically, this says it takes like a little ghost of you and it puts you in your home directory, and it will say, okay, run this command, run this command, run this command, run this command, change to your Scratch directory. I didn't talk about that. This is a shortcut just to go directly to your Scratch directory. So they made shortcuts for everybody. So if you do CD $ Scratch, you don't have to go. If you remember, you were in your home directory, and then we went back to home, right? And then we went back to root, and then from root we went to Scratch, right? And then from Scratch we went to user, and then from user we went to mine, right? Instead of going back and back and then forward and forward, you can just go from you can go from you can go from here from home to your Scratch directory, your personal one, by doing, this is like a shortcut, this $ CD Scratch, right? And then this activates a virtual environment. I'm not going to talk about that today, but I will. You need to do that for Python. I'll talk more about virtual environments for Python in our next little mini lesson because we're going on an hour. But I think this was like a good intro. But basically, this is like Anaconda, right? Or I have this virtual environment that has this stuff pip installed, and I have this virtual environment that has this stuff pip installed. There's pip conflict, there's dependency conflict between these two softwares, so I keep them separate. I have one for TC Python, right? So I know this one is good for TC Python. I next time I will set this up with y'all. There's an easy script to set this up. Okay,
So like for thermocalc, you have to go through this. You can't just like run it, right?
exactly. Um,
Okay.
yes, because thermocalc is an expensive calculation. Right. So we ran Hello World. We just did Python space Hello World, right? Um,
Hmm.
from the command line, right? We did Python and then the name of the script, and then inside the script, it just printed a for loop up to 10, right? That's fine. They're not going to get
So
mad at you for that.
so the whole point of this is just to use their supercomputer to run it.
Yeah, exactly. Um, to pay, right? Uh, so I think you're limited up to one core on the login node too, as well. So it's not, you can't even do much. Well, I think you can do I don't really know. I haven't tried. I don't really know how much you can compute without paying. So you see what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
it slows other people down. So you remember Vim was lagging a little bit. That's probably because other people were doing some stuff, right? And that's fine. They're allowed to do some stuff. Um, but
Yeah.
it's just to keep the resources shared. Uh,
I have a question.
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but whenever I click any of the portals, it just kind of goes to like a blank.
Are you on the VPN? That's
Oh, you have to
probably
be on a VPN to go to the portal.
yes, yes. I should have
Oh,
mentioned that. That's a good.
I
That's
I
a
thought it
good
was
catch.
just to run thermo. I didn't know it was okay. Well, then that probably clears all my issues up.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I forget about that. You have to be on the VPN to access this at all. Um, but yeah, I'll finish this. Good questions. Interrupt me. I'm gonna finish this up because we're at an hour. I'll just run this. So we load the modules we need to run. Let's just pretend. Okay, well, I'm not pretending because Python uh, property Gen 1, this uses thermocalc, right? This uses TC Python. I think you've run a version of this on your local machines. You need to load up these dependencies first. So this was all done in the home directory. All right, so when you spawn, you're in the home directory. This little Slurm thing spawns a ghost version of you who pays money, right? To use these compute resources that you asked for. He spawns or they spawn in the home directory. They change directory to go to scratch. They activate a virtual environment, which I'll show you how to do later. And then it changes directory to the current directory where you submitted the Slurm from. This is a shortcut, and you know it's a shortcut because of the dollar sign is purple. So what does that mean? So I'll exit out of this real quick. So I'll do Q. So the Slurm file or the SH file, like basically what this ticket that we gave, it is in where we're submitting it from is sorry. Oh, it didn't show up there. Hold on. This is laggy, so that's why I don't like to use this. It takes a long time to show up, but it'll show up immediately here. We have run hello world.slurm, but it's taking a while to show up there. So wherever we submit hello world.slurm, that is what the shortcut will take you to. So if you did cd change directory to blah 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 whatever the shortcut is, it'll take you to that shortcut, right? So that's like a variable. And where are we? Well, what that will do is it'll take us to scratch user Brent Vela /tutorial. So I will copy this and then I'll vim back into run hello world just to show you what this looks like. Uh, this right here, I will, this is not real code, but I'm going to do it. I'm in edit mode. This is equivalent to, oops, I guess it didn't copy. It's equivalent to, if I can remember, Scratch user Brent Vela tutorial, right? These are the same, but this is a lot easier. Um, that's a lot easier, right? I changed my directory to this file, okay? And then just like when we ran Python to do Hello World, you do the same thing, right? Except this time it's the little ghost version of you who paid money to do this. It will be, what will it be? It will be hello world.py. That is the Python file I'm going to run. So just to recap, the little ghost version of you spawns at home. You do module load. And how do I know it's a module load? Module spider, whatever software that you're interested in. So thermocalc needed these. Actually, it didn't need open blast, which is linear algebra. I just do that because there's some other stuff that needs it. So I usually just copy and paste this and don't change it. So you just do module spider, and if you know you're going to use Python and you know you're going to use TC Python, you need those two, right? Uh, and then you will do CD scratch. So it goes from home to your scratch directory. Uh, it'll be Brent Vela basically, which is in the Brent Vela in the scratch folder, and then uh, in that folder, Scratch user Brent Vela. Inside the Brent Vela folder, there's a virtual environment folder. There's a TC Python virtual environment. The binaries are here, and then I do activate. Again, I'll talk about that later, but that's just kind of something you have to do for Python if you have multiple installations, and then or any installation, and then CD Slurm. I have to get rid of this, so I will change directory from the. I'm here, right? So I'll change directory from Scratch uh, and then I will go to the Slurm submit directory. So where the folder, the directory from which I submitted this request, this is it, right? So these are just like shortcuts. Does it make sense that these are variables and they can change and they're just shortcuts, right? Okay, okay. And you can make your own variables, and there's some good YouTubers I'll put y'all on about how to basically you can do a lot of stuff that you do in Python with these variables. Okay, but we don't need to do that right now. Let's do I'm in it. I'm in edit mode. I'm moving around. Let me delete this so I can get ready to run it. Okay. And then Python hello world. Let's not be greedy. So I will reduce the number of, I don't need that. And this could just really the smallest you'll request is an hour, and I only need I think there's like some stuff that you need to have. 20 is pretty low. I mean, this is way more than you need for the job, but I think there's some other memory that you need to keep. Um, so there's some overhead memory. So 20 for the lowest jobs, and then scale it up based on your consumption later. Um, and then let's say test output is the output file, tutorial output, tutorial output.
So it runs by an hour. Does that mean it will run at most an hour?
Exactly. It will run at most an hour, and you'll only be charged for the seconds that it took to complete. And if it fails, you're only charged for whatever it ran for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're not charged for the full thing. If it runs the full hour, you're charged the full hour. But if it runs for half the hour, you're charged for half the hour. And if you're running it on two nodes, it's 2 hours, even though it ran for 1 hour in real life. Does that make sense? Because it's two nodes running for an hour. Um,
Mm. Hmm.
and I'll show you how to do if it's not set up to be parallel, you don't need to change this, but I'll show you how to make stuff parallel later. And let's change the job name to something first Slurm. I don't know if the exclamation point is banned. So let's just do that. Okay. Just quick quiz. How do I quit and save?
Outside of the queue.
Uh, yeah, how do I quit and save the sorry, there's some equipment in the other lab. Uh, save this them folder or what I just edited here.
Um, that's W Q.
Exactly.
You write,
Colon.
then you save, or
Yeah,
you write, then
exactly.
you leave.
Exactly. Quit. I guess it stands for quit. Right.
But
Quit. So colon, you need to do the colon WQ. And then it will save that. It might take a little bit. I mean, that shouldn't take long, but like I said, because other people are using the login nodes, there can be lag. So that's why they tell you not to go ham on the login node. Okay. Just to check that this looks good, I'll do cat, which we remember just stands for quick look at this, concatenate. It looks good to me. This is an important command we haven't talked about. How do I submit this ticket to the computer? S batch. So there are other S commands, and I will we'll go over them. But S batch will do that for you. So I'll do S batch run hello world.slurm. And if you want to go home tonight and look up Slurm on YouTube, there's plenty of more about this. And I mean, it works the same on any other high performance computer. So you learn it for this one, you learn it for the other one, wherever you go, or even at your home computer. This could not that you're doing, not that you're sharing with anybody on your. This is good. The account is wrong. So what we'll do is, ooh, unspecified error. Let's see. We can troubleshoot it. I don't really want to have it take too long. If you uh, if you comment out the account number, so two hashtags means
so what's one hashtag then?
it's part of the S batch for this. This is kind of specialized. So one hashtag is this is an S batch parameter. So like S batch, the job name, S batch, the time, right? This is something to do with the job specification. And if you do two hashtags, it comments it out basically. So these are just titles, right? We'll do W close S batch, please work. Okay, it was the account number, right? So it'll use your default account. So I'll do show my project, I think is the command, my project. And this is your allocation, but it's kind of ugly because of the font. So let me make it smaller. So here is my project accounts. So one of them is my default. If you don't have anything specified, like a certain account number, it'll just draw from your default. That's fine. Let's zoom in again. SQ, like a Q, like a line, British. It already finished, right? So it would have been running here. You could have seen it running here if you want to see what long jobs you have running. But because it's quick, you don't need that. We have a new file, tutorial output, and this is the job number. So if you do remember, if we look inside run hello world, the output name was tutorial output dot uh, dot percent J. This is a variable as well, but it's a Slurm variable. This percent J is the job number, right? So it'll just autofill with the job number. Um, so let's just do, oh, yeah, it was cat, so I'm not in them. So let's see. Let's see. I will do cat tutorial output. And then you can see inside that output, that little text file, hello world, some expensive calculations, and it did it 100 times. And we paid for that calculation. We didn't pay for a full hour. We probably paid for a few seconds, but we did pay for the calculation. That is where I'll leave it. That is the most basic setup for this. Next time I'll show you how to do the virtual environment. But do we have any questions? Does this make sense? This is very Linux, right? So
So for like doing what we're trying to do, like is the process similar? We just have it kind of just run what we want it to?
exactly, right? So I will show you uh I'll break the Linux I'll break the terminal stuff so we don't have to do that right now. Hit property gen 1.py. This is something I think you have or you've run the Stoic code, right? I think you've run the
Yeah, yeah, I've run the Stoic.
okay. And have you run the TC Python property gen or prop calc or something like that?
Yeah, I think it had calc in it. Uh,
Okay.
I don't know if it was property gen.
Okay. So, something like this. Like this looks kind of familiar. Like you probably ran it on your local machine, but the thing is, and you can run that on your local machine, but for if you're doing it for a million calculations and you have to close your computer, you have to use your computer for something else, or even, I mean, your computer just doesn't have enough cores to finish it in time. We basically just the reason we're using the HPRC is because we have a huge for loop that we need to go through, and we can't do it on our normal computer. Um, so we'll talk about that next time, but that's a good question. Yeah. So basically, here's the code that we would run. This is thermocalc code, and we'll parallelize it. We'll put it on multiple cores. We'll put it on like 20 cores. I'm sure your laptop doesn't have 20 cores, mine doesn't. So uh, that's what we'll do. Any questions before we log off? I'll probably stop recording if there's